SEO. Last time we talked, we covered secondary fermentation, which is a fairly simple step in making your homemade wine. Today we're going to cover stabilizing and degassing. This is a very important step, and it will determine how clear your wine turns out, how good it's going to taste, and how good of a wine overall you have to present to your friends and family. So let's get to it. So our first step is going to be siphoning the wine from the carboy on the countertop down to a clean carboy on the floor. So what I have here is two different size carboys. I purchased a smaller carboy, and what I'll do is I'll siphon the wine from the carboy on the countertop into here, and I'll fill this about halfway. I'll stop the siphon, and then I'll put the remainder in the larger carboy. What this will do is give me headroom for when I'm mixing my wine later. Now that my wine is siphoning from my larger carboy down into my smaller carboy, you want to just keep an eye on the level that's getting in the small carboy as well as how low it's getting in the larger carboy. You said you want a bit of headroom, so I usually go about halfway in the smaller carboy. When I reach that halfway point, I have a stopper here on my line. All I'm going to do is pinch that off. That'll stop my siphon. I'll switch it over to the larger carboy and put the remainder of the wine in that. So as you can see, we now have our wine siphoned from the carboy on the countertop to the two carboys on the floor. You can see the headroom that I've allowed in the larger carboy. This is for when I'm stirring the clearing agents and stabilizing agents into the wine. You're going to get a lot of foam, and it's going to give you some headroom there so you don't have it all shooting over the top of the carboy at you. And as well, during the secondary fermentation, you're going to have all your yeast activity die down, and everything's going to settle to the bottom. So with that siphoning process, you're going to leave all this yeast behind as well. Now I still have everything laid out as I did in the primary fermentation process. It's easy to get at, you know what you have, and everything's there in plain sight. So our next step here is we're going to add packet number 3, potassium metabisulfite, and we're going to stir it vigorously. Here's your potassium metabisulfite, and we'll get going on that. We're now going to add your potassium metabisulfite to the carboy on the floor. The reason I left the headroom is because you have to mix it really fast, vigorous, hard, whatever you want to call it. It has to be mixed up very well. A lot of people will take their spoon and they'll put the handle of their spoon in the carboy and they'll attempt to mix it as hard as they can. I don't know what results they get out of that. I've never done that. It's a lot of work, and I don't think you're going to get better results than this. So what this is a stirring attachment for your cordless drill. You're going to put this end in your cordless drill. On this end there's 2 pieces of stainless steel. They're riveted in place, so when you drop it into your bucket, you start your drill, they stick out like this, and they mix the wine very well. This is going to force all the gases out of your wine and give you the best results possible. I stirred that for about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. It really whips the wine up good. It mixes it really well. You can see the layer of foam on top already, and that's only been about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. So now I'm going to add the Kiasol to the wine, and it recommends stirring it for 10 to 15 minutes. With the stirring attachment on the cordless drill, that's a little excessive, so I'm going to go about 5 to 7 minutes, and that should be plenty. So as you can see, the wine is stirred very well. We forced all the gases out of the wine. This is going to help when it comes to clearing your flavor, your appearance, everything. It's going to make or break your wine, so it's very important to put a lot of work into this. Standing over the bucket for 5 minutes, mixing it with the cordless drill isn't fun, but the end result, it's so worth it. So our next step, we're going to add our potassium sorbate. This is only going to require a light stir, just enough to dissolve it into the wine. Now that we've added those packets of additives to our wine, we're going to top up the large carboy using a funnel and the smaller carboy full of wine that we had from earlier. As you can see, there's a lot of foam built up on top of your wine. Now, this is from stirring it so well, but it's necessary in order for your wine to clear properly and turn out as good as you want it to. So what you can do is check on your wine every 25 to 30 minutes. As your foam dissipates, continue to top it up from your smaller carboy. Once you get to your level where you're happy, you can add your airlock and leave it for 24 hours. This concludes the tutorial on stabilizing and degassing. Next up, we're going to be adding clearing agents to your wine. For this, you're just going to wait 24 hours from now, come back, add your packet of chitosan to your wine, and stir gently for about 30 seconds. Put it in place with an airlock and let it sit for 10 days. During this 10 days, your wine will clear. Next up, we'll be filtering and bottling our wine. Thanks for watching, guys. We appreciate all the views. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and have a great day. After degassing my wine, I continued to top it up as the foam dissipated. This took about 6 hours. I then waited my 24-hour period, so now I can add my packet of chitosan to the wine and give it a gentle stir for about 30 seconds. After giving it a light stir, I've replaced my airlock. I'm now going to let it sit for 10 days and clear. I'll see you next when we do some filtering and bottling. Have a good one.